Hey guys, Chris Singh here back from C&H Small Engine again for another review video. This is one I was talking about. This is actually a video about the item I was talking about in the previous VEPR accuracy video. I'm actually talking about the bipod, as you see right here in front of me right here. This is the bipod I was telling you about in the last video that I said before. And basically, this is made by, I believe it's made exclusively by Molot for the VEPR 12, because I bought it off the company actually, I guess retails or resells and stuff like that. It's called ruststock.com, and that's where I actually bought it from right here for that. You can actually buy it directly from Russia over there, and they claim it's exclusively for the VEPR 12 shotgun. And since I already have the Molot Picatinny rail adapter underneath here, so all you gotta do is basically clamp it directly on here as well too. So basically, I put mine basically probably about an inch, or it's about a half an inch from the front portion of the lower handguard on our floor. That it situates perfectly fine on our floor. That, and let me give you a side picture of what this thing looks like here as well too. There's a side picture. There's a front angular picture as well too, and there is the a back picture as well too for you guys, so you can see all around on here as well too. This thing has a couple of unique features I personally like on here for that. Basically, in the middle part, what actually bolts up to the Picatinny rail area on here, this thing actually pivots back and forth. So if you're on like an uneven area, or you're trying to shoot from some kind of a weird angle, that basically some of the other bipods they're more rigid on it, so you can't really angle it at a like a specific angle you're shooting at and stuff like that. So this thing actually it's spring loaded on the bottom. You have two springs on the inner side on here. They have a pivot point right in the front right here. This thing actually pivots right here and goes back and forth like that. So it has a spring loaded mechanism where it actually bolts directly to the upper portion right here, where it bolts to the lower handguard. They have looks like a high impact resin plastic right here, and this thing basically slides down on pretty tight. And you have on the other side on here, you have a flat blade screwdriver right here, which puts pressure on your Picatinny rail adapter right there and clamps down it pretty tight. It's not like the regular American style one, because most of the American ones I got for like your red dots and stuff like that, the actual Picatinny rail is like two pieces on there, and it basically pops apart. This one is actually one solid piece, and all it does is basically flex back and forth on there for the actual plastic piece for that. Okay, and the next aspect on here is you have a couple buttons right here on the top, and these things will get a better picture. You have a couple buttons right here, one on this side, one on that side right there, and basically what you do with that is you push down, and these things pop out as it is right there for that. You can also fine tune the height of the actual call angle on there as well too, because these things are threaded on here as well too. So you can thread them in there or thread them back out, and it'll basically do that as well too if you want to fine tune the specific height right there for that application. You're shooting like on a low bench, and you want to have a higher area where you're actually shooting at right there for that. You can just fine tune it rather than hitting the button on there as well too. So these things basically pop out, and you can basically have them fully extended to like the maximum length right there for it. If you're shooting like you're shooting on a high bench, and you have a high chair, and it's not completely evenly matched for your bench and your chair. They're not evenly matched. Sort of like what I have up my cabin right there, because the actual bench is kind of high, but the problem is the chair I'm also shooting at from is kind of high. It's not actually low as what it should be, because you basically want to be sitting in your chair shooting where you're basically eye level, where if this thing's not fully extended, I gotta basically lean into it right there for that. So this is more it's a more relativistic able to do that. So it's basically relative to your eye level. So if you're shooting at a high bench that has a high chair, you can jack it up, or if you have a low bench that has a high chair, you can do the same thing, either way back and forth for that. So it's more comfortable like that as well too. So I got mine from ruststock.com on there, and The price might be a bit high, guys, but they do work with you. They even say it on the website right there for that, since it's an exclusive made by the manufacturer for your shotgun. I like to try to keep my shotguns all you know, OEM spec on it, so you have everything on the shotgun is basically made from the manufacturer, like the muzzle brake, your hand guards, the gas puck, your bipod, as I said before, your magazine, the 8-round, 5-round, or 10-round, basically everything on the gun except for the actual trigger pins and the stuff like that, because that's all Tapco G2 is polished up and it's basically smooth as a horse ass. And I also do recommend upgrading your trigger pins as well too. I got the Power Customs extended one, so basically it provides good insurance for your gun, so your pins don't walk out unexpectedly, because sometimes those pins are basically barely flush with the surface on it for that. But that's basically everything I can tell you about that specific setup right there. And I was even showing in the previous video about the accuracy, the part 2 accuracy. I had about 3 shots, almost, I say within about a 1-inch group like that, at about 25 meters right there, and that's basically no joke, the kind of accuracy you can get out of your VEPR 12. And I've seen guys on YouTube who are like shooting at 100 yards distance with one of these things. They had about I'd say about a 5-6 inch group with just like shooting slugs out there. These things are quite accurate, as long as you get the proper proper items on there, so you can actually make it almost like a tack gun, if you want to call it that, for a shotgun, because shotguns are most not don't really supposed to be super accurate, but you can basically improve the accuracy greater by shooting slugs, and find out what kind of ammunition you actually like for your gun. Because my gun came when I originally bought it a few years back from Classic Firearms. It came with wolf-powered slugs, and I basically stuck with that because it seemed to be damn well accurate out there for that. So that's my setup right there. I definitely like these the bipod on here for that. So let me pop this thing back down on here again, and I'll show you how they fold up on here as well too. So let me hold this thing here, guys, and do that real quick here. Pop them back in here. There we go. Pop the other side back in. Let me put it down at a better angle here because I'm trying to hold this thing at the same time. So let me do that. There we go. You have I almost forgot, you got rubber soft rubber nibs on the bottom of this thing, so it'll basically grip almost on any basic surface. I apologize for not telling you about that. And these things actually rotate on here as well too. These black pieces right here, you can rotate them to basically accommodate any type of like range bag, or if you have some kind of a box you put your shotgun in, you can basically pivot this thing around here and like so, any way you want to. And the other thing is, this thing also folds up. It folds forwards on here, as I will show you right now as well too. So what you do to fold it up, you simply pull down on the two bipod pieces, obviously, and pull that, and you slide up like so. You pull the other one up, pull out about a quarter, it's about a quarter of an inch, half an inch, and basically folds up just like that. And you can put it in your range bag, or like me, I got the SVD. It's right here. This is the I got it from the same company, ruststock.com. This is a SVD Rifle Range Bag, or drop case, we're going to call it here. This is made out of canvas. It's heavy duty. I personally love these things out there because they keep your gun nice and clean if you're transporting it from one area to another out there for that, and they're definitely a good investment to get for your gun. I try to keep all my stuff original item on there for that, and that definitely goes hand in hand to get it with it. So these will basically fit perfectly. This shotgun will fit perfectly in your SVD bag, as I have right here, the drop case, so you don't have any problems moving it around and stuff like that. So that's what it looks like, all folded up, guys, from the right side. Here's the other side as well too, and that's the right side. It's all folded up. And as I said before, this thing does pivot on the bottom here. It's spring loaded, so if you're on an uneven surface, or like say you're out hunting somewhere, and you want to basically say you come across a rock and you see a deer or something else out there, you can, it's like almost like an uneven surface. that's a good feature I personally like on there. So it'll actually pivot, so you won't have to have a exact rigid stance right here for it. Because most of the bipods I've seen out there, they're completely rigid and stuff like that. They don't have any give hardly at all out there for that. So it provides a little bit of I call wiggle room, if you want to call it that, whenever you're shooting from a position that you can't have a completely flat angle out there for that as well too. So that's my review, guys. If you want to purchase one, you can go to ruststock.com, and so for the prices they have on the website, they do put a big notice at the bottom of the page on there if you have any frequently asked questions and stuff like that. You can definitely negotiate the prices on there for that, so don't be alarmed about the actual price on the website. You can negotiate the actual price if you want to and stuff like that, but I personally like it. 2 thumbs up. It's made by the same company as the VEPR 12 shotgun, so try to keep it all OEM as much as you can out there for that, just for basically form and functionality, and just try to keep everything as it is from the factory right there for that. So that's my recommendation, guys. And if anybody has any questions, comments, whatnot, just feel free to leave me a message here, and I'll try to answer any questions you guys have about getting one of these, or if you're thinking about getting maybe some other bipod or whatever out there. This is definitely worth the money. I personally like it as before, and you can't go wrong with it. So that's my recommendation right there for that. So I'll see you guys. Have a nice day.